But the simple reason is I want you to read. In order to answer these questions, even though the words are limited, you have to have the background information in order for it to be concise and precise. Because otherwise you're going to be filling it in with words that are not relevant. You understand what I mean? So what I want to do tonight, I want to look at question 2, and then I'm going to look at question 7 next week. What?
Oh, assignment 1.
Sorry, I thought you meant assignment 2. Looks like it's been a long day, sorry.
She's going to print out assignment 2 and 3 through 4 and cost of grader expand. No reason.
She's not done the gun. She doesn't have assignment 2 and 3.
In the chamber class 1 year.
You want to flash? I know that's not, but I thought.
She's that one yet.
She's not. So who all attempted 1? You attempted 1? Let me see it. Okay, let me see. Anyone else attempted 1? Your first attempt?
No.
How many words you have? You counted the words?
Maybe 300. This question comes to like 600.
Okay, all right. So let me see. That's right.
Jojo want to take that? How many y'all even got
Nothing
one?
beats a failure but a failure. Man, I need a vacation, so I need to
Okay, so your first and second sentence is saying the same thing. Let me tear it off.
Why do you do that like that? Why do you word that like that?
What? Number 1?
Let me question you.
I include this weekend for the 7th.
Vacation, so at least during my vacation time, I should go back.
Okay, so you gave me the legal framework.
One
But-
and 2 sentences. One,
Yeah,
one
but
talk
you-
about the Management Act, and
Yeah.
and 2 talk about
But you,
the regulation. There's a regulation.
the approach to the regulation adopted by the regulator. So you don't have a regulator, so yours is the auditor general. What is his approach towards custom, ensuring compliance with the laws and regulation, and what you do?
This approach is like, what are you trying to obtain, would be to it?
What is approach is like a risk-based.
Risk-based approach, what kind of approach do they
Different
do?
types of approaches.
When they come to audit you,
So
what are they
can
looking
I
to
say
do?
that he's looking for the effectiveness of the internal control?
Give us only one sentence.
Also, you
The
know-
brunt of the question is asking you, what is the approach?
I think their question was to whether you know the types of approaches and how they apply to your
To
sector.
your
The types of approaches in
sector?
the book, page 61, Sarah.
Okay, no, I mean, she attempted,
No, I mean with the different types
yeah.
of approaches.
She has the laws there,
Oh.
she has that part, but now she has to answer the question. Anybody else did number 1? Because that's why I tell you, when you answer these questions, so why you start now. You don't wait till the end of December, because you're gonna find out you have the word count, but you haven't answered the question. Huh? You can find what? Yeah, well, that's another thing, you keep saying, but I'll look at it later, and it's too late, and it's too late.
So when I do this,
Add more to it?
Some of this you have to take out.
Oh, okay, and then put in the respective.
Putting in the rest, this and this saying the same thing. Just that this one is more expansive than this sentence, but you're saying the same thing twice. You wouldn't see it.
But what I'm saying up there, is I'm saying that, they're talking about and then down there, I don't know, regulation.
All them people in one sentence.
Okay, good.
Nobody else?
No, no other questions.
What I load again? She don't know when a class finish, a class finish it. Let me see if I have any.
That's why you should have come here last week.
That's right.
You didn't ask,
Say
you
it.
didn't ask nobody to say it. He thought you was coming. Who thought you? I didn't even have your number. You have a number? Why you was telling her one big question? She said nobody said her it.
You were told to be quiet.
I paid money to be here. Sure. You paid money for it? No.
Okay, so this one you have to look up yourself. This is minimum disclosure. Who need one too? This one you have to look up, because it was too big to print.
Three. So that's the base one. Yeah. I'll take a picture.
What else I gave you all? Transferring culture, right?
Yes, that's one. Chinese one.
And then I told them to go, that'll give you all governance, risk and compliance landscape is changing, correct?
Plus she also missed the day, so you had no too.
Yeah, I gave it to her. And then I said, you need to read this document.
No, it's three.
Based on
One based on one. That's over 100 pages.
Okay.
So who looked up the document for chapter 2? It's just as big as this.
Which document they get? You mean that one?
No,
I have that one.
they have a different one,
What other document for chapter two?
for chapter 2.
With the OECD? I
Yes,
think I could have asked her to that today.
yes.
Can I have a copy of this? I didn't get it.
Let me see.
The transferring of culture, transforming culture and governance and compliance.
You got the financial?
Email,
Okay, that's
your email. Yeah.
No, she said one from chapter two.
Yeah, this one from chapter 2. Let me give it to you.
I look at it too.
You look it up?
I'm
You
ready.
could read it.
You mean best practice principles for
Yes,
respiratory?
page 62.
Yeah.
On page 62?
Yeah, I could ask you.
All right. Another thing you can look up is banana skins.
All that on the page before.
Page 58. Banana skins is a good tool because what they do is they prioritize the risk year by year.
So the question is just basic.
Huh?
3.1. Yeah, and go to 50 footnotes. Your footnotes. 50. And Sarah, you signed it, Sarah? No. And 52. No, 52. Yeah, 52. You have footnote 52? And 52.
This is the first question it asks you. Chapter 2 is on what? What is chapter 2 about?
Understanding the regulated environment.
Okay. So,
Why did it happen?
while we go through chapter 2, I want you to look at question 2.
History, how did we get where we are today?
That's the first.
That's number 2.
What?
I don't know where it is. She asked
Right.
it.
Then look at question number 2. If you read chapter 2, then you see question 2 falls in line with chapter 2.
Yes.
You agree? Who read chapter 2? You did half of it. Who read chapter 2? Half. Okay, all right. So you see how question 2 is related to chapter 2. All right. So since you've read it, let's start with the first part 2. How did we get where we are today? So in the book it gives you the UK outline of what happened. So they talk about what? Financial crisis, financial scandals,
Political changes.
political changes,
Market pressure,
market pressures, and what the next one is?
media's focus on banks' conducts,
Okay.
immigration policy, culture, blah, blah, blah.
So I want you to give me the timeline for the Bahamas. Yes. Yes. Bahamas.
What about it?
I won the Bahamas
You
on.
remember, I think it was in 2000, where we had
Blacklisting.
that affected KYC.
Blacklisting.
Yeah.
That's not a financial scandal.
Was it the,
What's the first one? That's international pressure.
yeah.
Pressure. Odds mostly pressure, no.
Most of us are, yes, international pressure.
Yeah.
What
And
else?
then, farmers, yeah, we got some of the financial, well, we didn't have no sense, but it was a activation and all that stuff.
No, but a lot of it is from, I don't know if it'll say market pressure or economic, because a lot of it centered around how the economy was doing,
Mm-hmm.
and
And when that was?
now you done it. I just, I just know it as things that occurred, and we were concerned about our GDP and all of these things going on, so.
Was that not in the economic crisis? When we had the subprime and it started?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so what year that was? Why we hot? Okay, let me get the air conditioner on. Come, dates. You gotta be able to relate, whether you're comparing it to the US or the UK, you have to be able to relate.
No, nobody's never dates, we just know what happened.
Whatever happened in the world, it's how much, you know, especially in the States.
Ain't nobody Google that yet.
So fix it now. Come on, let's go. Remember, whenever you read these chapters, you have to relate it to the Bahamas. Otherwise, you will be writing an error. 2007, 2008.
2007.
They've had several.
Market crisis.
Okay.
What else?
What the word is Nazacha?
Market. Crisis. What else we had?
We have to be careful with the, we would not be stating like, periods, right? Because the Bahamas has gone through several crises within the market. I mean, we had downgrading that happened just
That's
last
the
year.
examples you're going to give,
Oh, okay.
the impact.
Mm.
And then after the impact,
What
what
change occurred?
what regulations were put in place?
Okay.
Because this question is talking about a regulatory initiative.
So when we were speaking about, we're looking at from inception first.
Yes.
So the periods that you have there is at inception, and then you can go
From the,
on to
from the
say.
time the central bank was established until today.
Mm.
So let's go, history.
So after that,
In the whole financial sector, yeah, but you have to know
you
it.
say that it could be international.
Because you're looking at the regulatory approach. Are they proactive or are they reactive?
Reactive.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And the question and the comment is always made that central banks are reactive. And that's why there's so much crisis. So now you have to put when you finish reading chapter 2, you put yourself in that shoe as the Bahamas. Do we follow the same trend as everyone else? Crisis, then we do something. Crisis, then we do something. Pressure, then we do something. So, in order to answer this about regulatory initiative, you can't just pick an initiative. Because you have to show the examiner that this initiative is something that stems from one of these pressures.
Pressures, okay. But you wouldn't go into all, you would just.
You would
pick
go into
one
all,
and then you
but you
elaborate.
won't, because if you don't do it from here to go here, you're gonna miss the essence of why there is a regulatory initiative.
Okay, so basically we said this was the problem area, this is what we did, and this is their results.
This is how they implemented it, this was the impact
Okay.
on whatever sector it is. So start thinking. Should I erase and start from when the central bank was established or go
Yes,
from
we
here?
can start from central bank.
So you all can go year by year?
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, I think that was
See, because the book takes you from the very beginning and then it summarizes it. But you, because it's not in the book, you have to now go mentally and figure out what happened. What year it was,
1970, 1974.
okay? What happened?
Independence was 1973, so.
Okay, so 1973 we became independent.
Yeah, we had the independent country had to establish some
And,
monetary, you know,
Independent.
right?
Independent. 1974 was the establishment of the central bank, right? Then what happened after that? We had the Central Bank Act, Exchange Control, what else? Banks and Trust Companies Regulations Act. What happened after that?
Lord, I was in school.
I wasn't born.
Yeah, this was called the Monetary Authority
Yeah,
before the
yeah,
central
yeah,
bank,
monetary,
okay?
Then after that, the kind of the financial sector, financial services sector opened up offshore banking.
Mm-hmm. So, between what period?
I would say 1980 or 70 years.
I was thinking about 1980.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what happened?
I was born shortly after.
It was booming. Yeah.
Tax haven.
Yeah, the Bahamas was branded as an offshore tax haven.
They had to incorporate the IBC.
So all the drugs,
All the drugs was getting done.
No, we had no IBCs then.
The drug people was making money.
That was in the 90s.
That's in the early 90s.
Yeah, that's 92, right?
Mm-hmm.
when we had IBCs?
IBC's
Yeah,
companies
yeah,
act was
companies
established in
established in
1992.
Yeah.
Anything else happen?
We were living our best life.
Commission of Inquiry, that was
Money.
something. Yeah, no, what, 19 what?
What's that? What are they?
Companies were not physically here.
Yes.
Oh,
they just
yeah,
registered.
yeah.
We had walls with plenty names of banks that were only plates.
Yes.
Oh.
And wasn't it shortly after they made it mandatory that you must have a physical
We're
presence?
gonna get there.
Yeah.
You see, by the time we finish this, you should be able to select a
Anyone
regulatory initiative.
Yes.
Got it? That's what I'm trying to let y'all know how to approach these questions. You don't just pick them out of the air. What X happened?
I mean, you was able to just pull up with your briefcase and deposit the money in
All with all the cash.
from 1980.
Yes, y'all know.
Mm-hmm.
1980 to 1990.
Child, 1990, I was 6 years old.
I wasn't even born yet.
That what excuse that is?
Well, I was in the Bahamas then, let me put it that
That's
way.
right.
So I
What
didn't
excuse
require-
that is? You started focusing more on monetary policies and trying to bring the country in line with international standards, okay? We also move into automation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just started.
You remember that, right?
Yeah.
Because you worked with me, right?
Yeah.
Yes? And you said never again, right?
Morning, yeah.
Yeah, he did. Student. Summer student. He said never.
Not again.
No.
Not a day like it.
Mm-mm.
I didn't say that.
He tell us that he wasn't here.
I just said to myself.
He wasn't with
No.
us.
What else happened?
They were short.
It was very short. He said, this is not my cup of tea.
No, because that's your time for him. You only used to do 3 weeks at a time.
What else?
90s?
Oh,
Start focusing on supervision of banks. That's when we brought in an Indian inspector with IMF background
Ui,
for stability.
when you're IMF is tremble.
Yes. So here, what we were doing was strengthening the framework. The regulatory framework. So that's why we brought in an IMF expert.
Boy, we get consulted. Always doing some consulting or something.
No, but we wouldn't have had a behemoth with this
No, I know, I'm talking in general.
expertise.
We always consulting.
If you're an island. What happened?
Blacklisting. What was it? Yeah.
That's what we started, yeah, from that we started.
No, but in this 10-year period,
Before the 2000s?
uh-huh.
Well, and
From
then-
2000, we'll do the blacklisting.
Yeah, well, in the 1990s to 2000, that's when IPCs and all of them could have, was in place, right?
Not like this woman work tonight now.
What happened 1990 to 2000?
money
They
laundering.
say IBC, woman.
Yeah, companies act, IBC.
Woman.
IBC's act.
So, Ms. Archie, 10 years, you was on the blacklist?
No,
No, not for a long time.
She just saying all that happened within that period.
within the period. Mm-hmm.
Ms. Archer, what is next, the supervision of?
Banks.
Banks. That's why
And
I
trust.
why she say it.
Exactly. She hasn't learned that yet. Then we had the blacklisting. So what happened at blacklisting?
We started enhance due diligence, we started to,
KYC, know your customer.
Mm,
That's why they,
mm,
like,
mm,
proceed what
mm.
I'm asking about.
What?
When legislation was renewed.
Suite of new legislation.
yeah,
Now,
everything
you know there are
changed.
no
Everything
freedom of
changed. It's a
legislation.
suite.
Legislation.
What?
No, why do you say no legislation?
Legislation. You don't see that
She got to stop. She got to stop that
Everything, the entire banking framework changed.
there? And what was the impact of that?
We had some losses.
Okay.
There's a lot of, yeah.
What is it, close up?
Closures.
Closures.
See? Come
Oh.
on, man. See?
Mhm.
A lot of people pulled out of the Bahamas.
Yeah, a
All
lot.
the money leave.
What happened between 2010 2012?
More legislation,
I was in contact.
What? What legislation?
security,
When he was outside area.
FCSP was 2000, yeah,
All them in
In 2000,
what else happened in 2012? 2010, 2012.
something had happened in 2008. I can't remember. Some kind of economic crisis.
No, that was 2001.
2001.
I would have never, yeah.
9/11. How did that impact us?
Anti-terrorism act.
Yeah.
When was it passed?
US Patriot, that's all them.
All of those passed in there. So let's put terrorism. And you know with legislation, Dodd, all of them people.
When was the FIU, when did the FIU came into play?
2000, I think.
It was right after 9/11, right?
Oh, yeah, all of
It was
them.
before.
No, all of them was with the suite.
Was it sweet?
They were the suite. The new legislative framework for AML.
What the first word right there? Terrorism.
Dodd-Frank.
Dodd-Frank.
It's actually gonna be adopted, you know.
In the
Why?
next life.
Yeah, man, cause it's on right, that's awful.
That's what she's speaking, that's what she's saying.
D-O-D-D.
What else happened in 2012? What happened here?
Respect.
The arrow say terrorism, Dodd-Frank.
Goes to Dodd, yeah.
What happened there?
Didn't we get downgraded or something around that time, 2007? That was last year, right?
Yeah.
When we got downgraded to junk bonds and all these things.
And the year before.
Yeah.
Now we've been getting downgraded almost every. Don't laugh, because we went from AAA,
Okay.
then it's on to triple B plus, then we're facing.
Yeah, it's
No security
okay,
organization.
so. Okay, what else?
But at some point, it came in there where there's even further enhanced
I was just,
KYC or CDD. That was more risk-based savings.
Mm-hmm.
now, you remember we had where, I think it was shortly after the leak. I'm not even talking
Panama
about the
Papers.
Panama, but, I mean, Panama affected us too, but remember the registry had a leak as well?
Yeah, the Bahamas leak.
The Bahamas leak. And didn't we start strengthening how they were securing information, because in the past, information weren't, I guess, put online, like, oh, there's a provider online now, and didn't
We
they
did
change
nothing.
With the Data Protection Act?
That was everything.
That's over there. I wonder what this new thing that we have now, and I think they were supposed to take it to the House last month, in September, regarding, you know, the information about UBOs that they were trying to get, that they were saying that, okay, we are gonna be the ones that are now, because they were getting pressure from the US with overfact and all of these things. What was that? What's the
Beneficial
broad
owner
term?
registry.
Yes.
But we still didn't say what happened in 2016 to 2017.
What happened 2016, 2017?
You
You
not
can't
right
write
now?
on, you can't write on this.
No.
No, because I don't think that.
No,
This
but
is
I
not
guess-
implemented,
It's not
right.
implemented yet.
So we want what's here.
That's what I mean.
You're trying to find something between here and here, but more here. Yes, if you want that. You want that?
We need to talk about fact to do that. Spot goes before CRS.
Listen, I can't even stand the word CRS right now. The no words with CRNS in it. So much, everybody trying to meet this deadline.
You did FATCA in what year?
14, eh?
Factor was 2016.
No,
mine
before that.
was
Was before that?
2014. That was 2014.
No, listen.
Since we can get rid of now, even I know that.
It ain't that.
What
The
that
rest
year?
of Factor straight, all I do every day is try and make sure we get
Came
CRS.
from in 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah,
remember
it was
Factor
before.
being from
Yeah,
2014.
from 2014, that's when my completed after reporting.
Wow.
That's true. That's true, that's true, that's true.
Worldwide.
There's like a picture of the front
Except
girl
for the
from
US.
IRS. Yeah,
What
yeah.
else happened? 2016,
And then they
2017?
upgraded it in 2017.
The CRS, eh?
I have that.
Where you put that?
No, I have tax evasion.
Okay.
What else happened?
2016.
Well, with tax evasion, we had another set of losses.
Beneficial ownership.
That's the impact. We can get
Yeah,
an impact
the
later.
Oh, okay.
Because you need to find, everybody can't write on tax evasion. So what else happened?
What does WW mean? I know what.
Worldwide. Worldwide, except for the US.
No,
Tax
she said
evasion.
Tax evasion, CRS.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yes.
Value added tax.
VAT, we got a dog with the VAT.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yes,
We
yes.
can talk about that. Yes.
Where the VAT money go?
Okay.
No, but that gotta go. That was.
That's 2016,
2015,
2015 was VAT.
and then VAT going up again.
2016, that's 2015.
But you know.
No, man, it was
It going up.
2016.
When we
It
did that.
rolled out in 2016, but.
When did it come into effect?
2016.
16, so it stays here.
Okay.
That's a good one to do.
We need to put
implement.
VAT
The
again.
education
She could do
began in
that.
2015.
We need to put VAT again for
She could do that.
Extra.
Because it changed the whole tariff
Yeah.
system.
Yes, Sarah.
Sarah, you better write that
You
down
could do
on your
that.
paper,
Yeah,
girl.
Sarah, you can hit that.
You can hit
Sarah,
that.
Sarah, so who tell you she won't do that?
But that directly related to what she does.
Because
Customs?
yes.
She may wanna do
That's
something.
her job.
Yeah, but that's how she get an extra
was
points
2016, 2017, or 2015.
when the referendum
Sarah don't get
was.
pressure, yeah?
Cayman was
Oh, yeah. That was
16?
No, Gaiman was before that.
You sure the referendum was.
When the referendum was.
No, man, they didn't give
16. I think that was 16. Look it up.
No, I think that's 2015.
2015.
That's before 2016.
Because Gaiman came before VAT.
That's true, she
Yeah.
right, she
So
right.
it's up there, 2013.
She right, Game it didn't come before the
Because,
VAT.
yes, because remember all this thing that was quote unquote say that,
It was an opinion poll and, you know,
anyway,
then
we ain't getting
legislation.
into politics tonight.
No.
No, but that's where it started, that's where it
That's
came
what- yeah,
from,
yeah.
2015.
What
It was
else?
2015, right?
I put it there.
Cause it's under the Christian.
What happened in 2016, 2017?
OECD.
It's only last day, huh?
C5F, the risk, the national, the draft report.
Oh, 2016 was, and 2017 was the thing on, the CFAGF report.
Yeah.
And we got blacklisted again.
And what who was the national, the draft national report?
I mean
The national risk assessment.
National risk
National
assessment.
risk assessment. Well, that came in there with the
Mhm.
That was
CFAGF
2016,
report.
2017?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
What else happened?
Girl, you could get your notebook and you get that book and
What's wrong with you? Tell me need more, because you can't write with the same regulatory directives. Let's go. What else happened?
In our approach, we can use any time period, and it's best to do most recent one.
Most recent and weave it into something else to show how, to show the regulatory approach,
It's there.
whether it's proactive or reactive. What else happened in 2017?
2017, no, that happened in 2018, but 2017 I mentioned that there was gonna be,
What?
amendment to the whole legislation,
Which
Oh, for legislation.
all the acts. Remember they revised all
I mean,
the
the
acts?
POCA?
That was as a
POCA.
result of the 2017
And they've actually been
report.
implemented?
Yeah.
Speaking
Yeah,
of
but remember that the
amendment acts, right?
CFAGF report is what caused it to be changed.
They, now you see how you link them together?
Speaking of amendment.
And you can link this
Whatever
to
happened?
this,
Remember,
to where that other one is.
Miss Archer,
Here.
didn't the insurance commission came in, you remember the whole thing with CLECO? Wasn't that, we had a change in the way we deal with,
When you couldn't find your money, and they keep on your money.
wasn't that, wasn't
But
there a
did they
change?
change the laws?
That ain't resolved.
I thought when, I
That
thought
is
that,
all,
I,
it's not there, you know.
But
no,
did they
what
change
I'm
the
saying, I
laws?
thought that's when insurance commissions came into place.
No,
As a
long,
result of
long there.
CLECO,
Long
that was
there.
back in 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
That means the
Insurance Act was already in-
So it just wasn't enforced, that's what caused CLECO's downfall.
They wasn't enforcing things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was already on the
Yeah,
books.
for mortgage.
Poor, exactly,
Investment mortgage.
all them people money gone.
Where did I stop from?
When they stuff there up to there?
Yeah, where they find all them people
We
money
have a
gone?
regulatory initiative.
16,
R
17,
and FCRA, all that kind of.
Yeah, but I mean, there's plenty, y'all carrying on the same thing. Regulatory initiative. When did we introduce Basel II? I gave you that last week.
That was 20.
That's the risk base?
The risk-based approach, also, yeah, we changed
From RWA to Basel II, Basel III.
That was around 2015?
Let's read it on here. Yeah, up to now.
You mean from Basel to Basel 3, right? Yeah.
So you move from the RWA all the way to Basel II, Basel III. Yes.
So that is right around 2018.
Not unless it's already implemented. This is implemented.
No, that is-
That's implemented. Yeah, you can do that one. Yeah, a regulatory initiative. But what we're saying to you is that with your new customs legislation and the implementation of that, how did it affect it? You actually had to do, you all actually had to pass a whole new legislation after we did that.
That's just a bill, that's just a bill.
You could, but I'm just saying.
We indicated in financial transactions reporting act.
Yeah.
Yes, all of that, then talk how it was implemented. Okay, so you could do that one. Yeah, that's it. Nothing else? So, what were the regulatory initiatives?
Yeah, the thing is, the bill, that's
Ms. Archer, I have a question. This might be stupid though.
No question is stupid, my darling.
I have a question. You see like how we can't write on the beneficial ownership registry because that's still a bill. You can't write on the anti-terrorism because that's still a bill too. I told you not to ask. You can't find the act though. The act ain't in circulation at
They saying it,
all.
but you ain't saying it, that's in
It ain't
circulation.
in circulation.
That means you must go buy it, that's what I asked.
Buy from who?
Publications.
Publication.
Right down the road
They're
there.
not gonna give you all of them.
Why?
Pay for it.
What?
What do you cost
That
something?
is-
Something
I
like
ain't
$5.
giving the government that.
$5, yeah.
Well, then you won't get it.
That's true, I just
They
need to
won't
write on
publish
that.
the whole suite. They'll give you some and then leave some.
No, that was the only
That
one
never
we
made
didn't
no
get.
sense, man.
So the registry is still being.
You understand that, right?
I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I saw the bill.
Don't wait on that one.
Okay.
Okay, so when you speak about a regulatory initiative, first you need to say who the regulator is. What is the regulatory initiative? What were they seeking to achieve, and what was the impact?
Hold on, say it again. Who's the regulator? This question too. Who's the regulator?
Mm-hmm,
What's the initiative?
mm-hmm,
And what were they trying to achieve?
mm-hmm.
And what's the impact?
Impact.
Oh.
And they say through the use of practical examples. So that means that you're going to have to go and find statistical information or articles.
And that was the impact.
Impact, so the impact is gonna be your examples.
Okay.
So if you were talking about a fall off of licensees, then you have to say, based on the central bank's annual report or the Securities Commission report, 2016 had this total numbers of licensees that had this, the commentary said that. Even if it's just 2 sentences, they want to be able to see.
That you could
they-
relate it.
You could relate it and the impact.
That's like years down the line.
You see? Okay, so everybody should have some kind of regulatory initiative that was carried out. Yes? Because you only just looking and tapping your finger like this. Here, what would you do? Legislation again for CRS. How was it implemented?
Yes, and
How was it implemented?
wasn't it AEOI first?
All of that is it.
What you mean?
It's more than one piece of legislation for CRS. How was it implemented?
I don't know what you want us to say.
The book tells you. Depends on the regulatory approach. Consultation. Meetings with stakeholders? Yes, yes, that's what they're looking for. That is your approach. That's the regulatory approach for implementation. And add into that, when you read the chapter, it speaks about associations. So it depends on the industry.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
There are associations. You need to talk about associations that would have been effective in either the change in the legislation or the way in which it was implemented. Brian, you're looking at me. So you have the CBA, you have the AIBT, you have the, what them other people name?
BFSV,
Uh-huh. What the next one's name?
not sure, no, that's not.
What the group of insurers name outside?
ICB.
ICB?
No, that's the
No, that's
regulator.
regulator.
Association.
There's something.
Yeah.
If you doing insurance, whatever's the lobbying association.
AIG.
If it's securities, whatever's the lobbying association. You see what I'm saying? Yes.
ACIB, I think.
Or something like that,
So
yeah.
this is what they're looking for. The influencers.
You mean for 10 marks? 10 points?
Yeah, they're looking for that.
Child, listen, get your points while you're good on the smaller ones.
What's CBA,
Yeah.
Sandra?
Clearing Banks Association. I mean, if you want to do VAT from a banking perspective, you can. Because the implementation of VAT meant more fees.
Yeah.
And
Tell
what
us
was the
about
impact,
it.
and how was that implemented? Remember, they had workshops? They did them in sectors,
Yes.
and then they did guides for each sector that is available online. They revamped the whole taxation system, Department of Inland Revenue,
Yeah.
to deal with all the sectors, and you do it online. Okay? So it's different ways you can take the same thing but approach it differently. They're looking for what was the
So
approach.
if we choose gaming, we could say they lied to us or tricked us first.
No. So for gaming, what was the regulatory initiative? The regularization
Of the member
of
houses.
that were outside. How did they do it? Don't talk about the referendum, because that was not necessary.
But that's how they did it.
Well, first of all, they
The
said,
referendum was null and void, because they didn't pay any attention to it, so don't go there.
Because it didn't give them the results that they were after, so
No, well,
they decided it on their own.
well, the Casino Act and stuff like that, they said was antiquated.
Yes.
So they tried to bring that up to date, and it, like, they including the web shop, right? Because they're saying that with casinos and gambling now, the business has changed where you can gamble from your room.
Mhm.
And so they were saying,
To see where you could gamble home and on
Right.
your phone.
right, so they're trying to update it to make it inclusive.
And that's the same way how biking legislation will change in the next 5 years. Because everything will be technology based.
It already is.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of putting in the laws
Yeah.
and the rules, it's not written yet.
Digital
It's
currency
coming.
company.
Yeah, no, they want to do the digital currency.
So,
That's another one.
Ms. Archer, when we look at, for example, gaming, right?
Go ahead.
And, I know we spoke about how it was their approach. And we said that they looked at, enhancing some of the acts that were already on our books.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I guess, meetings, telling people about what it is that they wanted to do. Now, remember with the whole gaming thing, they made changes as to what each license, number houses had to do. For example, now they're all about compliance, and, but there is a part of it where there was a big concern as opposed, whereby they were using the number houses almost as a bank. They were, what they call it? Shadow banking. So when we look at these questions, these are things that we will say as some of the impacts that they have that maybe in the future they may have to look at.
And again, the regulatory regime is reactive and not proactive. Because they haven't changed the regulation, even though they know that these things are still occurring.
Happening. Okay.
See? And so that gets you a one step further to getting your 10 points.
There's a lot for 10 points. Just saying.
Well, let's do a lot to get that 10 points.
You need the 10 points. It's
I
the
just need
word
a 10
count.
points.
You just want the 10 points. That's why I said to be concise and precise. So when you write it first, you write everything down.
And then.
Just like how Sarah did. And then when you read it again, you realize, okay, this is saying the same as this, I can take that out. This is not relevant because I really need this one here because this is really the impact and not all of that little fluff I put in there. You need to write each one out and then reread it. And then what I said is every time you go to a chapter, see if there's something else you can add to it and what you can take away that's not important. And that's the only way you can get the points. Right. We good? What you mean no?
What else happened in 2018 now?
We don't move on to
Digital, what
Digital currency was in 2018.
Yes, it is.
Bahamas is just trying to,
No, it's out of it, the family act.
around the
Sorry,
world.
sorry.
It might not have
I'm
been
sorry, the
2018.
financial
Yeah.
in me is, I'm thinking of my
Bitcoin.
No.
It's
Let's not
cryptocurrency.
forget, we always the last with everything.
Sorry, my mind automatically went to cryptocurrencies and I was like, that didn't just happen.
No.
Okay.
Where can crypto go? Can it go up there?
Yeah, but crypto is having some, let me digress. They're having some issues now regarding how they're looked at by the regulatory, because it's very difficult to, what's the word, verify, exactly, so.
They KYC documents on these persons now.
So I just was reading a write-up on it just about a few days ago and what's happening in Canada and those days, like for persons who are dealing with cryptocurrencies being looked at as MSBs. And banks don't want to deal with anybody in that, so it has some negative connotations to it.
But that's happening a lot in Barbados.
Oh, we can talk about when the regulator bought the credit unions
Oh,
under.
Oh, yeah,
Because they were outside.
That was scary.
That's kind of up there.
that's the starting this right
yeah,
there.
2017, that was on the NRA. Yeah, when they had it set,
What
yeah.
happened to the credit union?
And money transfers, say.
Money transfers long before that.
It was always.
No, yeah,
No,
that's
no.
what they had to ask before.
They added
We're
MSB.
on
They
the
put the
central-
Go up, go up.
MSB
Yes.
Credit union is 2015.
2015.
brand in here.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
We gotta move credit union.
What? The credit
They
union?
said that's 2015.
MSB's is 2015.
No, sister.
Credit unions just came under.
Sis
Yeah.
Rachel, who works, have you worked for the union? She worked for the union?
2015 you all became regulated.
But what the-
3 years?
No, no.
When was the legislation done? Go to the central bank website and look at the legislation for it. It's not, I don't want to have conversations, I want when the legislation pass. Check, go to central bank, look at the
You know what
legislation.
came, what brought that on, just recently too? The CFATF report, but they say they weren't so regulated. The act was there, but they weren't paying attention to the credit unions.
It
wasn't
Central
doing- it
bank is
wasn't-
not
it
doing what
wasn't
it's
doing-
supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's an excellent one to write on.
So credit unions, 2013, 2015.
She gonna look right now to see when the legislation was passed.
That was Credit unions, because credit unions, remember that credit unions was like transfer money on. That's why I didn't pay attention to it, but now because all the money.
You see the act is passed, and then they have an enforcement date.
Tighten it and to make sure they recognize.
Let's make sure, okay? So 2015, 2016, you see when the legislation came into force, okay?
That's only the guidelines.
Yeah, they only the guidelines and stuff. What else?
ain't too sure exactly when that was passed.
Anything else? You see so many things we coming up with?
Is this public knowledge?
You said you said she knew, I tell you. I tell you.
Where are we pulling it from now?
She said yes, you telling me no.
It's public knowledge.
I mean, where can find it?
That's what he can't say.
Now, we in the Bahamas, we lack a lot of information.
It's online, that's why I told you no.
Lost Bahamas.
Yeah, Bahamas government website, we don't even answer
Thank
passport
you.
application.
That's all.
No, laws of the Bahamas.
Lost the
Stop
Bahamas.
that. So what about, so I guess 2018 would fall in the, with DNFTB, BPs, with real estate agents and accountants and those now being somewhat
2018.
2018.
That was under the new POPO.
Yes.
Yeah. So you could take it from that angle.
So,
But has that been implemented yet?
One initiative.
Yes.
Okay.
Read the questionnaire.
The compliance commission is already out, making sure that they adhere to the new requirements.
What does that mean?
Yeah. There's other financial institutions such as real
That's
estate
that's
agents.
These
These are like real estate lawyers, all those other people. Accountants. Yeah.
Brian.
What else happened? Now you see why you have from now until December to answer these questions.
Why we haven't held that?
So, Ms. Archer, do we pick one or just pick?
Just one initiative, right?
Just pick one?
What is on it?
It said
I mean,
A
like-
initiative.
It says A or
Yeah,
S?
It said A.
A,
Identify
one.
a regulatory
One.
initiative.
Initiative, one.
Okay.
I tell you,
I listen
One.
to
you
it.
don't listen to me.
So now wait.
Or in the
process.
Right.
That is being implemented or is in the
That means
process of being
that's
implemented.
the bills.
The bills that are being
Talk about the
discussed in
bills.
Parliament.
Yeah, but if you write the bill, what you could write?
Yeah, but if you write the one that is in process, you're not gonna be able to say,
You don't be able to say.
The
how
impact-
the
impact
impact
of it.
and any future changes that you see forthcoming.
Not for that one.
Yeah.
Don't miss a couple points, Joe.
Now, for the new AML framework, that's passed, it is still in the process. Because remember, banks don't have to be compliant with it until next year. But it is in the process. You see what I mean?
So where would you put banks in and one of the others?
What you talking about? Stop talking to her and focus.
It is me.
Okay,
He
yeah.
just wants you to do
I
this
know it ain't
initiative
you.
for him.
So you should read the bus like that.
Yeah.
Other than
What
that,
else? What are the regulatory initiatives? Come on, let's go.
Why you trying to?
Alright, so next you next class.
All of that is in this. All of this is in here.
That's the thing.
And how the regulator rolled it out, that's what's important.
their approach.
The approach.
Run
Impact.
this Facebook vision, and I know what the rest of
What was their concern?
What you know.
Was it concern for the internal stakeholders, the external stakeholders? Was it international pressure?
Always international pressure.
We always have international pressure. We missing anything else?
Stop texting.
Stop texting and
You
look.
could understand.
Exactly. What else? I was going to say we gotta look at the, what they call that thing? The deposit insurance, but no changes in line for that. It's too old. That came after the crisis, the Gulf Union crisis, but no changes since then, so nothing new is there. Anything new on consumerism? Yeah, anything new? Are we contemplating any on financial ombudsman? Anything? Oh, she thought something, what? Yes?
No, so I'm thinking about free trade.
it.
Discussion regarding that.
What, WTO?
Yeah, and the impact that, as far, But yeah, it's too much things going through my head.
But what's the legislation though?
No,
Oh, okay.
When it comes to legislation, I'm very poor with that.
Okay. Anything else? What you have in the back here? What?
No, wait, tell them we got
We throw another idea.
Yeah, we just threw it, I got it by your agency, you said regulatory initiative. What brought on the initiative? Who regulated this? What was the initiative of the regulator? What were they trying to achieve? What was the impact?
Mhm.
Give me examples. What approach did the regulator take? How was it rolled out? Was there international pressure? And then again, it's kind of repetitive.
Yeah, it's repetitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So seven.
These two came under that. That's what you
Got
said.
it? So we good?
So, yeah, because it's only, no.
You gotta find your topic?
I have four.
You know why? So I put this stuff up here. What brought on the initiative?
I didn't give you a zillion
Exactly, I have to choose.
ideas.
Yeah, but it's repetitive.
There's no way, no one can say they do not know what to do
Yeah.
Yeah.
for that.
But Archie, we didn't really discuss MSBs.
Money transfer business, money services.
Yes.
All you're looking at is when the legislation
Because we
was made effective. Now,
we don't really have a.
reason why? No, why? Why did it come about? Yeah, it not being regulated is not enough. What was the risk?
What is a high cash?
You mean from
Cash in hand there.
Yeah, you can verify who the money's are coming
Relationships
from.
are fleeting, all
Yeah.
of that stuff. The
Mhm.
cross-jurisdictional transfer.
There you go. Oh, so you have it.
I know it, but
Okay.
we discussed it.
So legislation was passed. It went under the central bank. How did they roll it out?
See, that's what I gotta find.
Yeah, she
No, she wasn't a stump, she got that.
There, yeah, girl.
They was doubting you. Not you.
You know you with me. I know.
And then he becomes
She can separate us.
There was like a delay, long time. Okay, so sophisticated. What?
Educating the public.
Yes.
Would I have an impact from, would I have
This amended that. This amended. Yeah, right. So you say amendment.
We have to write out already. We saw word that we gotta write that.
That's association.
Yeah, she was talking about the CBA and all that.
Really? You could actually survey this right now. How many of you? How many of you
How much of us?
know of or read the Currency Declaration Act?
Who?
Okay.
Oh, Sarah.
No what?
Who's read that? Why we read that? What we gonna know that for?
Explain to them.
I mean, yeah, that's live, but
I know, but I saw it when I was researching that.
No, I don't want to know it like that.
No, we
Know
don't
it.
come out. Know it.
Because she's talking about implementation.
like you already know it.
Like you know it. You know what's required of you.
No, the average person don't know that.
No, so you have to
It's a
say that.
requirement.
He's not gonna like issue.
It's a requirement.
I don't know about that.
So Sarah, that's the government?
Sarah?
That is Sarah's topic.
Come,
There you
Sarah.
go.
Come, Sarah.
Educate us.
Tell us how was it
Educators.
implemented?
Educators.
How was it rolled out to the
It
public?
isn't fully rolled out as yet, but now we
But it was
have a
rolled out
desk.
before. You had it in 2015. You amended it in 2018.
Right.
What was the amendment? What was the effect of the amendment?
Where we will now have persons at the international terminal.
Oh, you mean that? Sorry, I'm familiar with it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so you will fill out a declaration
To
whether
say
you
how
have
much-
$10,000
Yeah, how much
going
cash, yeah.
in or
Oh,
out.
yeah, I'm familiar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm being in public, don't even read that. There's a
Yeah,
sign
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Well,
I'm familiar with
we
it.
have
No,
them-
but it's implementation.
Right.
And it's on the
So you should know.
declaration form as you come in, the customs hall, you will see it there.
Yeah, they changed
You know
the
where
form.
the other
Yeah.
forms used to be, the C7 and C18 at the wall, so you will find it there.
Girl, that's
On the wall?
On the
Yeah, it's right to the
wall.
wall there. It's
There's
a
no
desk.
media coverage?
Well, like I said, it's
No, you know,
You see what I'm talking about?
I didn't see that in no media.
They had a town meeting.
When?
Your
They
town
put it
meeting?
on ZNS
Well, it
on
was
the
like that.
TV for you to watch with the
Well,
dead people and
like I said, it wasn't fully rolled out, but
Community
they
announcement
done
exactly.
it stage because they already changed the forms. And then they have a test.
Hold on. This is for when you come back?
Yeah, if you come back from like,
You have to do
No,
some
that's when
going
you
on.
go in.
No, that's when you're going?
no, if you coming back, because you have to clear us.
Yeah.
You have to tell us if
You
you
have to
bring in
yeah, it's going
$10,000.
on, coming.
Because if you go into the US,
You
you
can
will
do that
tell
for free.
them if you have $10,000.
Right.
And if you go
No,
into
they
Jamaica,
ask me
you'll have to tell
You
them.
know what
you
they
have
asked
to
me?
tell them.
Okay, so tell me,
So you coming
They
back
coming
to the
back?
Bahamas?
Why is this form
Everybody is
necessary?
there if you have it, too. You coming back.
Just recently.
I guess not.
When I went in June, I didn't
They want to know what money is going on.
On you personally?
That's what she asking her.
Because you no longer sign that form in the
That's what she
US.
asking her.
No, we're not talking about going to the US. They deal with that themselves.
Yeah, going.
Uh-huh.
We're talking about going to like
When you
Haiti.
coming back to
If you
the
go into
Bahamas,
like
this one, you have to
Haiti,
Any
fill
other
out-
jurisdiction other than
Any other, other than the
but
US?
then when you coming
And
back,
it don't,
sure US.
we not only us member business coming in.
That's like.
I just came back from
What?
traveling in South America. Nobody asked me.
When I
No,
came
Nobody
back
asked
in
me.
June,
Nobody asked
I
I was not in the US. I came to
But already
Jamaica.
enforced, so.
And I was not asked.
So this is the things that you need to talk about, because you're talking about
Because when I
implementation
came back,
of a
nobody
new
asked me for
regulatory
nothing.
initiative.
Nobody asked me for no money. I
I
went to look okay. And when
The only
she
thing
said
we
she
need
didn't
to
have
have is
it,
that custom form. That's the only thing we
That's
need.
what it's for.
Well,
And you're like,
the
that
thing
is
is,
loud.
back in the day, we didn't have a law. So anytime you
I know that.
anytime you found a person with
You don't
money,
fill it out, but if you have that
we would
monthly currency,
have to
you
call
fill
them.
it
Who
out.
is going to purposely?
Because-
Because,
you
no,
all
because
confiscate
if they
yourself.
find it on you, you can
And
get
if
a
they
problem.
find-
Who is
Yeah.
going to purposely fill it out? When it
Like the woman who has been.
Can you find it in there?
No, but now we talking about.
But you
I
can
don't even know
profile.
there's a form to fill it out.
You can need a profile.
So like,
We can have like,
So you can do like how the US does
I
it.
didn't know.
Right.
They profile people.
we can profile and then we will have three different, we will have three different steps.
Listen,
They
I don't
will be
even have
asking
to
you, before you go to the government hall, they're gonna be asking you if you have a If you don't have
But I'm traveling in other countries, they don't ask you those kind of questions.
we get you.
it's up to you, so if you go in the line that says you don't have anything, and then we profile, then we just like randomly pick you.
When are y'all gonna get to the stage when you come back in, the customs, nothing to declare and something to declare?
Like real talk.
Like
I
most
see.
Because
countries.
that's how most countries is. They have two
Nothing to
services
declare,
and
something
something
to
to
declare.
declare.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, most of,
Because I tired open up my bag.
but most of the time you can go in the line.
No.
They don't trust the email.
I tired open up my bag.
They don't trust us.
I tried looking at
But they said they're gonna be the same color.
No, I can wait right here. I can wait right here.
Yeah.
And then, but you must use
Why?
But we don't give you
Exactly. So we give no eye contact.
I saw her right then. I was like,
She didn't have any. She had a so she was the one of the other guy who was with her, and she went back and she felt it. And she went, she found out she came out to me. I made sure everything was correct. And before I could have finished talking to her, it was like about 50 police in the back of me. And they grabbed her and they said, let's go. And then the next month we had to go to court.
She had drugs.
No, she had money.
Oh, money struck on her. Oh.
They don't need it, they don't need it.
So first thing they can map out, that's all.
Oh, did she come in?
They say that they go to town.
They go to more.
Yeah, but I mean in other countries they say where there's something to declare or not and you just walk through. The onus is on you. Most countries have
Yeah,
an
it could be
onus
verbally
system.
or written, but for me,
Yeah.
I would want a written form, because verbally you could lie if something happened on the road. I mean, for me, so like I said.
Yeah, but we have to learn to trust our citizenry.
But what I'm trying to say is that suppose something happened, you want to protect yourself.
That's when the police come in. That's what the police for.
But suppose I didn't go on the call that day, and then when they asked me.
Well, it didn't matter, you caught it on, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but still, she could have lied and say.
What? Where did she get it from? Doesn't matter. It's on her. You found it on her? Okay, let's look at question
So, Mr.
7.
you saying I can't do that?
Not written like that. Huh? You what? You taught what? You taught what?
What time you leaving today?
I end up getting stressed.
I mean, she was leaving here last week, so she should have nothing.
No.
She was there till 8:30.
Ask them why I wasn't here.
We don't know, you wasn't here.
Under the gun, you inspect them.
I was up in the gun, it was rough.
They were rough?
Yeah, it was rough.
But your inspector was in class.
Exactly.
So she.
With her colleague.
Yeah, girl, she was here early.
You wanna do question 7 now?
Okay, let's do question 7, everybody.
She ain't gonna go no more now.
She don't go to
No.
she's gonna leave by 7:45.
Yeah, but she ready to go no
She ready to
more.
go to work.
This thing makes sense?
So you ready to go to work. She said it was actually ready to go.
After this week, she said we going home.
She said she will go now.
No, after 7.
Who's ready to leave
Is
can leave.
regulation
Right, and then after
necessary?
7, we can go home.
It's after 7 now.
After 7.
After 8, I mean, after this question 7.
And you'll calm down.
You like question 7, eh?
Calm down.
Now, the question is how they want us to approach the answer.
Is regulation necessary?
Compose a balanced response.
Mm-hmm. All right. So is regulation necessary?
So I guess they want us to look at regulations that have already been implemented, see the impact, and then determine whether or not was it really necessary.
Mm-hmm. No, but it says if we removed all regulations, that's free market,
No, I know. Mhm.
and left market participants to
To run
operate
freely.
freely, would the outcome really be more problematic than it is currently?
Yeah, and then they go
So
to the
you're
bottom.
looking at a free market and a regulated market. So consider the above questions and compose a balanced response to them. So you're looking at both sides.
Yes.
Establishing
Compare and
whether you
contrast.
believe that regulation is or is not necessary and supporting your views with appropriate examples.
So I guess we have to look at a time before the legislation came in and after. Because if,
Pick
it
an
was
industry
running,
first.
yeah, okay, let's say the financial industry before the blacklisting and how we were operating.
They finance it, the gaming industry.
Okay, let's go, yeah, that's a nice one, let's go to the game industry and how they were operating, right? That was a free market for, free for all, but the gaming, no, but the game,
That was illegal and underground.
It was just free market, alright.
go there.
It was a-
No, not that one.
Insurance.
He trying to do something easier, you understand now?
Everybody can't do the same thing.
Well, I just stick in my sector, sorry about that.
Okay.
Banking.
Brian,
Because
what
I
else
say
you wanna talk
inventory, no,
about?
I get that.
Yeah.
Money service businesses, you wanna talk about that, No,
I mean, for the most part, legislation came into place because, quote unquote, we were running freely. There was nothing that was confirming us to act a certain way. So you can see, and then you can say, well, okay, well, this is what it was, this is how it was operating, how we were going, how the economy was affected. And then after the legislation, or the, what do you
Okay,
call
so
it?
you have regulations today. No regulation.
Yeah.
when you can change, when you can change.
It's the same thing, yesterday, or no regulation.
When you
That
can
wasn't
change.
done yesterday.
Today we have it.
Change it like today.
What are the
mean, what the
problems, what the
mandate
problems
to
that
do
arise from
something?
all this regulation today?
Resistance.
Both sides.
Yes.
Loss of
Loss of
profits.
time.
Profits.
And profits and efficiency.
Loss of profits,
Or.
efficiency, what else?
Lack of flexibility.
Well, look at it from a negative perspective.
Stifles business, well, I put loss of profit, but I put it,
Okay.
stifles business growth.
Um,
Just this,
it's
it,
too much government.
give, put in your mind, right now, you as an individual,
And how you
all of
feel.
these AML changes.
Yeah,
Too much
red tape,
requirements.
too much red tape.
See?
Too much
much
red tape.
requirements.
For the
When
ease
you
of
bring
doing
it into your
business.
house.
Yeah, ease of doing business is more difficult, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, easy doing business.
Mhm.
Requirements. Oh, gotta get it while
What
she
else?
say it.
Red tape.
Expensive to be compliant, very.
Yeah.
So
Cost
expensive.
effective.
Yeah, different legislation.
And I know
Mhm.
some of it, I don't think it's fair. They implement regulations to create.
Are they consumer oriented?
No.
Okay.
Because now the consumers complaining, even though it's meant to protect them.
Profits and loss of.
Because they're resistant to change.
Loss of jobs.
Whenever there's.
Yes?
No, I know, but
So
that's,
it's like,
any
oh, this
change
is
is
there.
gonna meet with resistance.
No, because
Come on.
Yeah.
Lack of
Come on,
privacy,
regulations
everything.
today.
Yeah. Lack of privacy, everything.
But doesn't the flip side of this puts more responsibility on the companies because we have
Yes.
more regulation?
Yes.
So we have more transparency.
That's the word.
Lack of privacy.
So that's the problem.
Kind of the same thing, Graham.
Anyway.
Through disclosures.
Transparency and lack of privacy.
What else we have?
No, it's not the same,
That's
more
not the same
transparent
thing.
means that we're making it more.
You make sure every company has to
Yeah.
publish its
Understand.
financial
Okay.
statements and make it available. Okay, but we can put this here. Uh-huh.
Thank you.
What
See
else?
what you were saying, it's two separate
What's the
things.
plus side of more regulations? You have transparency
Control,
through more, you have more controls, companies are putting more controls, which of course affects this. What else?
fairness for all market participants.
Hmm? You have more fairness.
Yes, more fairness.
What did I say, disclosures?
Mm-hmm.
Consumer confidence.
Yes. So easy this question is?
Never.
Would you want
Yes,
fair-
it is.
Fairness to participants?
Market participants.
Studies in the market?
Yes, it does, M-A-R-K-E-T. You build more trust in the financial sector or whatever sector. What else?
What about stability?
Stability.
What that word called, consumer confidence?
Sorry, I'm thinking from the board's perspective.
Okay.
No, I'm saying my response is.
No, but it's fine. All that is in chapter 2, believe it or not.
Confidence?
Yeah, legislative.
Trust in the financial system. That's what FS means, right?
Yeah. To be trust in the financial system, trust in the gaming system, trust in the
Trust in the
insurance
system.
in the system. You have to say which system it is.
Now, if we had no regulation, free for all, do what you
Chaos.
want. Really?
More
I
money,
know, I think the chaos, you have no regulations, I mean, everyone doing their own thing.
more
And
money.
what that means?
That means like no, what the word is now?
Not really.
Confusion.
Free market. Will free market be confusion?
No,
Go back in time,
laissez-faire.
when they had less.
It was more money around here.
Invisible hand that controls the wheel.
That's what it was.
No regulation.
I could drag those and sell it.
Because everybody complains that all of this regulation stifles growth. That's what they say.
So no regulations.
No
Firms are
regulations.
willing to- They were able to do what they want.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be like, competing fairly anymore.
They
because
say, would the
everybody-
outcome really be more problematic than it is currently?
Probably for the
Everyone doing their own thing. No terrorists selling money, but how I feel like everyone doing their own thing.
So no regulations, what?
With no regulation, it profited the consumers more than, not the consumers, the
Business.
businesses more than the
Okay,
consumers.
so you have more profit
Yeah.
for business.
You know, more terrorists doing it, they like. The risk of more.
Mm-hmm. What else?
Oh, okay.
You will have more people coming in and out of markets without having to go
Ease-
through all that,
Ease of our.
yeah.
What do you call it?
Lack of trust.
Ease of, should I say market participation?
There's no in other words, there are no monopoly or
No,
just-
because you can go in and out. Yeah.
We're trying to say how to say that.
I put
I
market
guess ease
movements.
of doing business, I guess.
Yeah.
Economic majors.
Ease of doing business, no monopoly on anything, on any one market.
You don't have to go through all the central bank requirements. You must have 5 shareholders, you must bring 2 million each, none of that. You open the bank, you could open it.
No law.
That's what I say.
It's not heavily regulated. See, when you answer this question, all you do is take your mind back
So what was
before
happening-
2000
That's what was happening before that.
and you could answer a question. What was it like before?
Bring
You had more players,
Yeah.
you had more players,
Yeah.
more money,
More money.
you had higher salaries.
Yes. Bring on the
But there were no structure though.
No oversight? You have no
Yes,
oversight?
there was oversight.
Lack of oversight. It
More
wasn't as
corruption.
invasive.
There were no
Yeah, you
structure.
get more
Okay,
corruption.
well, minimum oversight then, minimum oversight.
Yeah, put it like that.
What do you mean war?
Mom.
Minimum. What else?
What?
Make it minimum.
Regulatory oversight.
Nah, no
I
R.
thought it was
Not
paragraph.
even no R.
We use
Like
the
a
paragraph. That's an R.
Yes, accountability.
Yes.
What is minimum?
Regulatory oversight, you know that,
You could also,
regulatory
you
oversight.
could also like hide your true ownership of the BO, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you
Hide
had
behind the corporate veil or whatever it's called. Anonymity, what the word?
Yeah, yeah.
Anonymity.
Uh-huh. Less accountability. I could put here less disclosure. Because if you didn't want to print your financials, you didn't have to.
I don't know why they won't be like business.
Exactly. Accountability in terms of auditing,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
having controls in place.
Boy, we could hide some things, eh?
Yes.
Cut off, people still
So
hiding
what
it.
examples you gonna use? Enron, yes. Anything else? You have anything local?
Pension funds.
But Clico had regulations.
It wasn't enforcement, eh? What it wasn't enforcement.
Huh?
Yeah, I think those
Yeah, we had
situations
documents.
wasn't being enforced.
That's the cons.
Penny
Oh, yeah,
stocks.
black. Oh, that's also on this list, right?
They're government.
Okay.
We were just mesmerized by the owners. But trusting the owners rather than looking at the actual framework and supervising them properly. These two always whispering and it's come back asking a question. Ignore
You
them.
know what else?
Yes? So the question is regulation necessary?
Yeah.
To an extent.
Ah,
Because now they're like, it just becomes.
because you have all of
Because you
this.
can say, while no regulation have done this, the regulation that they have left. You know, it don't have to be an outright yes or no.
No, but they want both sides.
Yeah. So you could speak on both sides and then.
And if you add in, and then if you add in the topic of the day, which is Trump topic,
Sanctions for Venezuela.
You like the sanction word?
who, me?
Unironic.
The sanctions is
Yeah,
Trump
they
word every
said
day.
it out.
He just did Iran.
DK and Iran.
He found that in the dictionary and ran for it.
And he just shut down their business.
I'm tired of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're talking about regulations today. So it's not just the regulations you have to do in the industry,
Sanctions.
but it's also all the international pressures.
Yeah.
Because if you look
I would
at,
say no regulations,
it makes
we
it,
didn't have a lot of de-risking when it was not regulated.
no,
Now that we have regulations, we
because
all
you,
want
because
this
you, because you have,
reverse.
because you have this,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
And then if you look at it, then you have people that decide to go because of this, because they no longer have this.
Cause they no longer have what?
What I just said, I say these two coming back with a question.
Yeah.
I heard this, I just wanna know what
Yes.
this is. I was writing CRS and he said this.
I didn't ask the question.
Then maybe you should give another answer.
You don't even know?
Or you didn't give an answer. So is it necessary?
Because if you look at the financial industry, it was really more easy, it was much easier to do business.
And we had more banks.
And we had more banks, more profit.
More
Yes.
profit.
Yeah, the economy was booming.
Need a balance.
But is it balanced now? No.
Need too much, for true.
But then it's international. It's international. But then but all of this is international. But when you look at what we offer, it actually has stifled us.
We're not competitive anymore.
No. Based on our niche market.
Yeah.
If you took all of this and you say, we're gonna apply this to the United States market, it's a different outcome than applying it here in the Bahamas. So we did it generally now. Now when you answer your question, is regulation necessary? And apply it to the Bahamas. How has it impacted the Bahamas? All of this regulation, not regulation that we put in to say we have a framework, but a lot of our regulation is from international pressure.
A lot. 99% of it.
So if we removed all regulations and let market participants to operate freely, would the outcome really be any more problematic than it currently is? Would it really be more problematic if we let it go free in the Bahamas?
Yes.
Would we have more money laundering?
Yeah.
More terrorists passing through? More people coming to avoid paying taxes? Then tell me how you're gonna survive.
Because with all these regulations, we would not be able to operate.
Yeah.
The Bahamas depends heavily on international, on being able to,
So, all right, so
Yeah.
putting in,
Don't
so
get
putting
caught
in,
up.
so putting in now
That's what I'm
all,
saying.
hold on now, so put in all of these regulations in order to comply with international
so you could
standards,
say in spite of despite, we still need it because,
but it has killed the industry.
yes, it killed the industry, but we need to eat.
I don't know what you eat.
Completely be,
What?
you know, shut off from the
You see how
road.
good that short and argumentative paper can be?
Can I write it, bossy?
No.
Please, I pay you $5.
Is regulation necessary? Yes.
It is.
For accountability, for transparency, for the ease of doing business. And then support your views with appropriate examples. And then you could also add here that the whole revamping of our tax system
has made it easy to do business. I mean, it's in the growth process, but in terms of going to one institution to pay all of your taxes, it's much easier. We know it's gonna take time, because a lot of places where we have an actual physical place outside of the Department of Inland Revenue, they're gonna have to automate it. So it's going to come.
There need to be a link between industries.
That's gonna come too.
They need to hurry up.
Money.
Girl, you see how long it takes us to get the thing here now?
Yeah, exactly. It costs for money.
Especially with housing and
You
works.
know, money. People say no resources.
So this is another very easy
You would have
question.
no resource for one set of tax, and you have to make another set of tax.
They didn't use the money they want to finish
On
on
both
the easy bills
sides,
for.
right?
An example.
Let's not go there.
They use the easy money to pay
For the
for it.
pros.
No, I do both sides, right?
What?
Yeah.
Both sides?
Yes.
Yes, both sides. Less regulation, more regulation.
Trying to say why.
Provide examples, and then conclude.
Okay.
It's a very easy question.
It did say balance response.
Yeah, balance mean both sides.
Yeah, right.
She just woke up.
No, I just read the second paragraph.
What I just said.
It was a long day, okay?
Alright.
Compose a balanced response, that
Yes,
means
balance.
get both
See, something
sides.
you would say, you just read it.
I know.
He's ready to read.
Yeah, that's a favorite, yeah.
What is this?
I mean, she did bring him up from
You
school.
understand? That's a favorite.
She taught him.
Yeah,
She
she
taught
totally
him.
do. She
Yeah,
made him into
yeah.
the man he is
That's fine,
today.
that's fine.
That's
That's
fine.
fine, that's fine.
We not battling.
Yeah.
We not battling.
We understand
Just make sure
that
give us the same notes you giving him. That's all I worry about. I remember nothing else. Give me the same notes you
What's
get.
wrong with these people?
I don't know.
That's okay, you know.
Sarah, my dear, are you
Oh,
comfortable?
that's
That's a daughter.
That's a
daughter.
She got it.
She asked us if we okay. I said,
Say we talking too much.
You say they're getting jealous? You want me to leave Sarah by herself?
It's fine, man, that's fine, that's
Sarah
fine.
outside cross her leg out there.
She said we too loud.
Uh-huh.
And she was waiting on you.
Regulation is regulation, both sides.
Let's think of some local examples.
Right.
We already said what Gulf Union was one of them.
Yeah, but he's saying others.
Yeah. How respectful of Bahamas international pressure.
Wasn't there an issue with Gibraltar or something like that, but I guess that's an international company.
What, under security?
Both sides.
Banks and trust. I'd have to go and research this one. Yeah, we had a few.
What thing will come under that? But that's not happened from an international standpoint, but they have a branch here, like over Louisiana. Which is now Colleen, no.
But was it due to
Watch it.
regulations?
I can't, no, wait.
We're looking at the
Yeah,
impact
give
of
examples
less
of everything,
versus
I think that was
Oh.
some of them.
That's money laundering.
Yeah.
Why you do, say we're billing everything?
Why?
They
do
just
your
own that
history.
building.
No, you need to be the
Yes,
work
yes.
in the building.
Yes, they just own that building back from
I
Louisiana.
am trying to think of a few who pulled out, like Lloyd, I think Lloyd is one of them.
And Bank America. is
A
in
lot did when we did the change in the legislation.
Everybody billing.
Look up in that time, read the Bahamas handbook.
I think a lot pulled out
Bahamas
around
handbook.
that time.
We'll have some of the local.
We'll have some of the local.
Jesus, Lord, that's another trench or something.
Couple foiled up though.
Yeah, but the Bahamas handbook will tell you.
But
I
then-
think I know
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Lloyd's
yeah.
They
was
give you
one of them.
significant changes.
Yeah.
And so let's get the handbook for that year or around that year, and you can read it, and you'll be able to cite
We
examples
do
of what
read it
happened.
indeed, and I was gonna skim through it.
You skim through it and tell you, go through the index, and
That's
see
what
what
I'm
say
saying.
the changes, it will tell you,
Fine.
Bahamas handbook. If you want something now, again, it's the Bahamas handbook, and you use the Bahamas investor,
Yeah.
and it'll tell you the changes.
Yeah, Bahamas investors may.
Yeah, but the handbook has some very good articles on it.
Okay.
And Bahamas investor. All right. Yes.
A lot of offices have them because they get them every year.
What is it?
Bahamas handbook, and each office has one. Because they have a subscription, you just don't pick it and go through the index and see. It'll
Sarah,
tell you the changes.
back it up, please.
Why don't you stop?
Sarah said at the
Sarah,
beginning.
go to you
Leave Sarah
She
alone.
telling you time. Wrap it up.
Okay, so one.
Sarah, put your bag on the cushion and go.
Bye, Sarah.
This your last class? Yeah. Why?
Why?
Because of you.
See you later. Don't mind us.
The next door.
See you
next
next week,
class
Sarah.
open.
All right.
Don't mind us.
Sarah could be right here. Give you a second try.
All right, so for next week, I'll choose what question I'm going to do.
Oh, y'all better be here next week.
Why are you telling me that? Well, she be the one who's absent.
Oh, no, I agree. She said next week, you choose a question, she'll do it. Brian,
And
remember
by
the
the time you
question,
should
you
have
remember
finished
Brian
reading
is a
unit two,
favorite?
correct?
He didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't know. It's a favorite.
Finish reading it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right over here.
That's fine, Brian, look at that. We know you was a favorite.
And please, when you move forward into the other units, ask questions. If you see things that are relevant to one of the questions and you think it applies, if they are not inclined to review the question, then you have to pose it as a question without saying this is a question. You see what I mean?
Wow, so we have that? Oh my goodness.
Miss Ashley, you can
Hold on, you
You
want
see
to
what I mean?
They love 2 and 3, y'all.
Miss Ashley, you got the question from last week.
What's your question?
Where you work.
I have a investment bank.
Where located?
In front of the embassy.
Downtown?
She's safe, she ain't gotta worry
She
about it.
said, they ain't
Don't
get
do that
my
shit up. She's safe.
They ain't get my She
You gotta
said,
you gotta be carded highly every day.
that's right. You happy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you swiped.
Look at this.
Did we swiped?
Yeah.
Wait, on the phone, I know you work too. Huh.
I no, no.
Why?
Miss Archer was not me. I can go to work, but it wasn't me.
It wasn't you?
It wasn't me. I was just having a conversation with her.
Why? She wants to come to see me at my job?
And no, Mom.
They say they see you walking around by British Colonial Hilton.
Yeah,
So
because
they
I
want
work
to see why
across the
you
street. Yeah.
work there, why you walking around there.
Oh, I work across the street.
Yes, yeah,
Do
across the
something
street.
else, yeah.
You see that?
I swear. You gotta slow that, man.
Run, tell her,